Oh my God, we made it.
We did. That's actually the first time. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You haven't seen that one?
No, I've never seen that one before. It's pretty awesome.
It's got all of my favorite people on it, so I like it a lot. It's real nice.
Wow.
You didn't even catch my Ricky Bobby reference. That's okay. I can see that.
Well, no, unfortunately, you roboted through some of that, so. But no, it's an awesome one.
So this is going to come with a disclaimer right off the bat. So I'm not saying that my daughter did break my laptop charger, but I'm not saying that it wasn't her either. So I'm on a Chromebook tonight until I can replace that charger. So it's going to be rough, per usual. This is not a professional level broadcast. We're amateur at best, and tonight especially so because I'm on a Chromebook. So sorry about that, but I'm here, and I feel like that's half the battle.
That is 99% of the battle. So that's a good start. A lot of people have been talking shit that Masshole's gone, Masshole's dead, last day of freedom has him blocked. People need to realize we have lives. It's summer, especially in Northeast or where Kate's at. You have to cram everything into 90 days of fun to get stuff done. Plus, our life does go on. So, we're doing as much as we can. We're glad everyone's here. We've got about 200 people in the room. Actually, 230 people in the room. We appreciate every one of you. So, bear with us, guys. We'll get back in the groove of things. So, a lot of our famous people here. Linda's here. Go ahead.
Linda's here?
Linda's here.
Oh, it's Linda.
Yeah, hi, Linda. Yeah.
Joe Samuel. Oh, Michael Bowman. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's not a huge expense or anything like that. It's just by the time that I got home and went to plug in my computer, I had 15 minutes to go, and that's when I realized this is a critical situation. It won't turn on. So, it happens. Oh, Toxic Angel is here, and he's got snakes. I'm assuming they're venomous. We're waiting for you, Toxic.
Yeah, I don't have
referencing, right?
No, I do not.
Okay, so Toxic, took part in a troll, one of the many Cyrax trolls, and he convinced Cyrax that he would help him get me murdered. And the plan that they concocted was venomous snakes, which is actually a fantastic way to kill me because I'm terrified of snakes, as are everybody in my family, actually. So,
that's good to know.
Thank you, Ed. Thank
Ed.
You, Cat.
Yeah, absolutely.
She was very, very, very much it wasn't me. Don't blame me. She was the last person to use my computer, though. So, like I said, I can neither confirm or deny. But somebody in my house bent the shit out of my laptop charger. So,
how do you only have one computer in your house? Holy crap, Billy Sanders! Thank you so much, buddy.
I know. Okay, no. So the other computer. Oh, thanks, Billy. The other computer that we have is my son's. So I was like, hey, could I use your computer for an hour? But he's got a friend over, and he was like, I could just tell that he was not thrilled with the idea, and I wasn't going to push it on him. So,
no, that's fair enough.
I dug out my my Chromebook.
Yes, I know how your son. Well, I know how your son is about his computer and his gaming and stuff, and that would not be a pretty situation. So good for him. So where do you want to start? Do you want to try and start with Chuck motherfucking Stegel or?
Yeah, I feel like Glenn motherfucking Serio is probably the bigger fish to fry there. I feel like not everybody loves Chuck Stegel as much as I do. I condemn you all for that because he's a magnificent creature, but I can understand that Chuck Stegel might not be everybody's cup of tea. He is mine. He is my cup of tea. But we can get to that. Let's start with Serio. I wanted to get brought up to speed on this. Oh, good. We have Alive and Well in Israel. My friend Epstein is in the chat. What's up, Epstein? Epstein might come up at some point actually and defend Chuck Stegel because he has taken that stance, which I can appreciate. We always need somebody to round things out. We don't want an echo chamber here. I will point out, and I adore Epstein, don't get me wrong, but he did rage quit the Masshole server because we wouldn't let him use the N-word. So I feel like he has a slight bias when it comes to Chuck Stegel, but that's okay. I do too. So,
you
Rebel
do, but
here. Hi, Rebel.
Rebel, I'll talk to you offline about the Discord situation, and Kate and I will. I'm sorry, and we'll talk about that. We have to have some ground rules there, Rebel. Do you have Kick's information because I know he was supposed to come up tonight also. because he had some information on Lost Days of Freedom Force as well.
I do not. That Pat set that up, and Pat is just AWOL right now.
Yes, he is, fucking bastard. So, all right, we'll start with Glenn.
Link in the chat and hope that Kit comes up.
That's true. Hank, bro, that's awesome, Hank. Thank you so much, buddy. Kill it tonight, Kate. You're gonna get a couple new chargers. So let's start with Glenn, motherfucking. Guys,
I'm gonna buy a new set of tits.
Yes, because we are fastly approaching 20,000. And you better get your pasties ready. We're at 16,500 right now, Kate.
Yeah, so in order to do that, I am going to need a fake set of boobs, like implants. So if you guys just want to donate for my boob job, that would be much appreciated.
I'm on board with that. So I think it's official that Everett City Police or Everett Police Department in Washington has officially broke Glenn Serio. He has totally gone off the reservation. For those who don't know, Glenn is not getting Jacoby's house. Glenn is not moving in Jacoby's house. His lawsuit apparently has gone absolutely nowhere. He lost his court case miserably about two months ago, I think now, a month and a half ago. The judge found him guilty. He was actually sentenced on Wednesday, I believe it was. Holy shit, not today, Satan. What the fuck? And Michael, please put a picture, get a picture. It doesn't make me vomit. For that kind of money, I'll put a picture.
Harry, he just gave us $100. You have to change your avatar, dude.
I'm totally game for that. Oh, let me see here. Well, and only one I have handy is that. So I'm vanilla balls tonight. I'm with you. I'm a single mom too. We're strong women. Yes, you are, Kelly. Single moms rock the world. So as I was saying,
Kelly.
Glenn lost miserably his court case. We unfortunately don't have the audio. I don't have the ability to play that. Unfortunately, we did. If you want to hear the audio, go to Glenn Serio is a dick on Facebook. It's pretty funny Facebook page actually, and Dutch Doyle does a hell of a job in moderating that. And there's all kinds of funny ass videos. Also, Braxton trolled the piss out of him after court. Literally chased Glenn out into traffic, and it was actually a pretty good troll. But he was sentenced to 5 days in jail, a $250 fine, and 2 years of probation. Now, I'm not exactly sure when this video was done, and there's a lot of people are kind of like, was it after the trial or before the trial? Because if it's after the trial, Low Tier God I have not heard of the Low Tier of God, but thank you for the donation. Have you heard of the Low Tier of God of Delulu and Sparrow? I've never heard of them. I'll have to check them out. Djin, not all heroes wear capes, buddy, but thank you. So this video I'm going to play, like I said, there's some contention as far as when it was actually shot. If it was shot after his court case, it's
older. It was before.
It was before the court case? Before he was sentenced? Okay. Yeah. That's what we weren't sure of. Because he mentions the 3rd in there. Now, he does have a court case on August the 3rd also. He has 2 cases in August. One on the 3rd and one on the 9th, I believe it is. So, I totally trust Kate because Kate is all-knowing.
No, what he's doing now. Yeah, no, you gotta. I've been following Glenn around for way too long now. Way too long. But what he's doing now is he's pulling a Josh Abrams, and he is recycling content as he is, going to be hindered from producing new content. I don't know how long it'll last. Obviously 5 days in jail, is not the end of the world. It is to him, but to most people, 5 days in jail, not how you want to spend a week. For him, I feel like it'll almost be a vacation because it will give him stability and housing and meals and things that he can't do on his own. So good for you, Glenn. But after he gets out, even with the presence of probation, do you really think he's going to adhere to it? I guess it depends how bad of a time he has in jail. He's not going to prison or anything. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of anyone going to jail for just 5 days unless they're waiting for a court date, honestly. So that good for you, Glenn. That's
exactly. You've now reached auditor status. I don't know if he can adhere 5. I think 5 days. It was funny when he was sentenced. The judge tells him you're going to jail, and you can hear Glenn in the audio go, "Fuck." So he knows it's bad. But I mean, one, there's only 3 meals a day. And can you imagine being Glenn's cellmate when he takes a dump in the cell? I mean, that's cruel. And that's a Third Amendment violation right there. I mean, that's a clear violation of your Third Amendment. That's just not fair. But this is a video Glenn put out, I believe, this morning, and it kind of speaks for itself. So I'll go ahead and play this.
911, what is the address of the emergency?
Yeah, I'm on Broadway in front of the CHC. I see a little red Honda, and there's a cop there, and I'm just curious because the wheels like almost off the car. I mean, and I got a reckless driving, and I had no accident or nothing, and I've been going to court for 18 months. 18 months I've been in court. Don't okay me. Shut the fuck up and listen. I've been in court for 18 months, and I've filmed numerous accidents Everett PD has been going to, and every time I'm the only one that gets a reckless driving, and I have no accident, no victim, no property damage. So, well, there's one right in front of me, but he's too scared to talk to me.
Do you want me to have an officer call you or come contact you somewhere?
Sure, why not?
Okay, where'd you say you were?
I'm in front of the CHC. But bottom line here is all of these videos I'm recording, and it shows that all these cars are severely damaged, they're wrecks, and the guy who doesn't have a wreck gets a reckless driving. Don't you think there's something odd? Don't you think it seems a little bit suspicious that this one guy out of like all these things, and then I'm here. Oh, I've been in court for 18 months. I'm here. Oh, believe me, I'm here. 18 months in court. And I get to watch other people actually commit reckless driving. And I go to court for 18 months. 18 months from trial on the 3rd. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. Your cops are garbage. Got it?
What's your name, sir?
Rather not say for retaliation purposes.
Did you still want contact or no?
They probably won't. So, I mean, they're Everett PD. I mean, you can't really expect any kind of contact.
Okay, well, I can either have an officer contact you or I can release the line to answer other
You can have them call me. You got my number. So, if you're gonna,
have your number, sir. What is it?
you have my number. You have a caller ID in your dispatch center.
There are caller ID filters through a couple different places. We don't have the right number, sir.
You can even pinpoint my location. Come on, lady. You think?
Can't do that either. This isn't TV.
Okay, well, 206-778.
Try to block that.
I just told you I'm not going to tell you that for retaliation purposes. I will not answer that question a third time.
Well, then I've got this over to the Everett officers to contact you, okay?
Hurry up.
He's a charmer.
Yeah, I'm in front of the CHC. I'm just wondering, how is it possible that a person like me can be in court for 18 months for reckless driving? I have no victim, no
So if you missed it, Glenn called 911 again, a second time.
car accident, nothing, no high rates of speed, nothing. But I see cars on the side of the road that've been totaled and they've been smashed to... Shut up, I'm talking. Been smashed to smithereens. and Everett PD doesn't even give them a ticket. Doesn't even give them a fucking ticket. But I have a reckless driving I've been in court for 18 months for. Does that make? Don't sue me. Well, explain your. How does your law work in Everett, where a guy that's traveling at like 10 miles an hour gets reckless driving, and then some fucking idiot smashes his Honda. What? No, the police, he won't get out of his car. It's like a fucking chicken shit or something.
What is your name, sir?
I'm not going to tell you my name so you can retaliate with charges.
Okay, can I get your phone number?
For what? No one's called me.
I understand that you're waiting there for a collision, is that correct?
What do you think the Supreme Court's going to do to your fucking Everett PD when they see that all these wrecks in Everett?
Let's just put this out there, Glenn. Your case is not going to the Supreme Court ever. So, yeah, okay. Kate, anything? Are you with me, Kate?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think they broke him. I really do. I think Kate's with me. Oh, she dropped off. I'll continue playing until Kate comes back.
And these guys didn't even get a fucking citation, and I get a fucking reckless driving. What the fuck do you think's going to happen to Everett PD? They're going to get shut down.
Nothing, Glenn. Yes, Rebel, this is definitely a Karen alert. You are correct. Let's see. So then he meets this poor guy walking down the sidewalk. This poor guy here.
What do you think about Everett PD, man?
What I think about Everett PD?
Yeah, Everett Police.
I think I don't know what to say about Everett Police.
You don't think they'll kill you? You're not afraid? Like, if they pull you over?
No, because I didn't do anything wrong.
Have you ever been attacked by them or anything?
I've been pulled over lots of times.
By Everett PD?
Yes.
You felt threatened, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
You felt like they were going to shoot you, right?
Yeah, you do feel like they got guns.
Well, they put their hand on their gun, and
Yeah.
because you're an African American, you get treated differently. Would you say that?
I would agree. I would agree with that. You know.
So I mean.
I would agree with it. I mean, I don't know why, but yeah, I would agree with it.
But out of every other police force, Everett seems to be the worst, right? Everett seems to have the worst reputation, right?
I don't know about that because I know other places that got, but when it comes to maybe color, maybe, yeah.
I mean, in Washington. I'm not talking about like New York or Chicago. I'm talking about like if you compared Everett to Bothell or Everett to like Linwood or Everett to Seattle. Or
A lot of leading questions. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It seems to have a horrible reputation, right?
I don't know about that. I don't know because I never.
Well, you said you've been pulled over. You said you were mistreated. You said you felt scared.
I didn't say I was mistreated. I said I have been pulled over, and that's not even a car. That's just walking down the street late at night.
Right. Pulled over for what, though? You're allowed to walk at night. You're not doing nothing. You're not.
Hold on, Harry. Can we just pause this? Can we just point out that like he's talking to a black guy right now? I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know who I'd feel more threatened by, the Everett Police or the guy that goes around screaming N-word at black people all day. I'm just, that's a toss-up for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go on a limb into this gentleman here has not seen Glenn's video where Glenn's completely using the N-word and saying he owns this black person. Yeah, I just don't get where Glenn comes from.
I mean, even the way that he's like leading this guy around, right? Like, he's not an idiot. I mean, Glenn, this guy is clearly more intelligent than you are, and you're trying to bamboozle him into into giving the answers that you want to hear. Fuck Glenn. He's the worst. He really is.
Oh, he truly is. He truly is. And the guy pretty much has nothing to do with it. He's trying to get out of there. I'm sure Glenn's smell is pretty atrocious at this point. I really think Everett PD has broken Glenn. That's the only thing I can come up with.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. I mean, Glenn was broken to begin with.
Well, this is true.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop the link for Kick. He is in chat, or he was in chat. Hopefully he's still here.
Awesome.
And also, if Schroeder wants to pop up and chime in, he's more than welcome. Yeah, I mean, I seen that this morning, and it really, I think a lot of us in Discord were just pissing ourselves laughing at this one, because I mean, it's probably one of the best Glenn videos I've had in a while. And yes, Dutch Joe Kobe does rule. So that's our Glenn update. So he's doing 5 hard days of eating bologna and some other stuff. No, I'm not going to bring you up, buddy. Not right now. A little bit later, Jacob. I apologize. We're trying to keep this couple of things we want to address first, but I'll bring you up later on, though, if we have some time. What else you got for us, Kate? What do you want to go to next?
Oh, somebody said my boy Cyrax is streaming now. Of course he is. But Cyrax is out and Stegel is in. I'm gonna really try to play these videos. I'm really not. I mean, I really am having a frustrating time with this Chromebook. I'm not gonna lie. Okay.
Can you put the links in private and I can try pulling them up?
What it is I can put the link to the Dropbox video. It's a Dropbox folder with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos. I'm just gonna try it. I'm gonna try it.
Okay. Let's live on the edge.
Yeah, there's no sound, so that's good. I just wanted to put my favorite Stegelisms into an easy form. We just gotta read these. So Chuck, on top of everything that we've already, shown with the insult thing and his amazing way with women and all that stuff, he's also a prolific poster on social media. And his thoughts on various topics are some of the most fascinating things that I've ever read in my life. I mean, he is just a modern day Socrates, maybe. So can you see this? Is it coming through?
I do not see anything. No, I can't. Anyone else? I'm not sure if it's a delay.
Oh, what the hell?
No. Now your third screen was there. It says add to stream. Let me try that. Let me add that you're sharing to stream. And it's not pulling anything up though.
I don't know why. I have to be a broke ass bitch like this.
Oh, there we go. Okay, there's the Dropbox just popped up.
Okay. Good. So you can see it. So
yes.
So we have a variety of topics here that he has mused on. What should we start at the top with humanity?
Absolutely.
I guess we will. Okay. All right. Little slideshow of Stegelisms here. Come on. Oh God, help us.
Welcome to the show, Kick. Appreciate you joining us, buddy. Sorry Pat stood you up.
Yeah, no worries. Appreciate it. I was a little busy, and somebody texted me and said, "Hey, they're looking for you." So here I am.
No, glad you have, man. I'm kind of fanboy next. I love your work. For those who have not subscribed to Kick, his channel is Keeping It Criminal, and he does a lot of good work also. So please subscribe to his channel and check some of his stuff out.
Yeah, your videos are awesome.
No, thank you.
Now, don't dox yourself. Don't tell us anything you don't want to. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Oh, are you a lawyer, Kick? Or, I mean, we're watching your videos. You seem to have some law background.
I will say this. I am not a lawyer. I'm currently in college for a bachelor's in criminal justice.
Okay.
I did work for a courthouse for about 5 years, and I spent a lot of time in multiple different areas. So civil, criminal, jury pool, voter registration, IT, civil collections, traffic. I mean, I was all over the place. So.
All right, very cool. All right, so here's our chuckleisms.
So,
He's a
so
handsome
keeping it
woman.
criminal. Are you familiar with Chuck Stegel at all?
So I missed your premiere the other day, but
Have
I
you
did
been-
watch
and-
it, and I have no idea how I was able to make it through the entire video. I was cringing so hard I thought I would implode.
That's what Kate's good at finding.
Yeah. Yeah.
She brought us
I
Cyrex.
personally think that he has a future. I mean, he does. Well, this is what I found now, guys. Like, this is what I'm dubbing the 6 degrees of Cyrax. So obviously, I found Cyrax. Cyrax was fun for a while, but now Cyrax has this entire orbit of characters, right, that are taking issue with me, you know, because of Cyrax, and it's just fascinating the people that are getting involved. And like some of them are like old lol cows that I followed before that I didn't even know intersected with Cyrax that all of a sudden have, right? So I mean, it's fascinating stuff. So I am feeling so grateful for the 6 degrees of Cyrax, and Chuck Stegel was the first one, because you know, as soon as we heard his name and he was a master hacker, it's like, dude, I have to find this guy. Like, who is he? And once I found him, I was like, holy shit. Like, you can't make this up. This guy is fantastic. And then he decided that he was going to directly get involved with things and say, I declare war on Kate because she's fucking with Cyrax. Perfect. Game on. Like, you are fascinating. So here's some stuff that he said on social media that I think is great. And I'm praying that it'll play. Yep, here we go. So Chuck Stegel on humanity. Come on, it's 30 seconds. You can play it, Chromebook. I fucking hate this thing. All right. This is the first one. I fucking hate people with a burning vengeance. I will have my revenge after what they've done to me throughout the years. Mark my words, you scumbags. It's good. It's good. All right. People suck. You're not wrong, Chuck.
Yeah, he's not wrong there.
Oh. The world is an apocalyptic wasteland now. This world sucks so goddamn much. People are fucking retards. Are people really this goddamn stupid? Too many goddamn drugs they're shooting up, not knowing the severe damage they cause to their blood vessels and vital organs. Guy.
What did Vital do to him? I like Vital. Vital's a good guy.
His little.
I mean,
Deggle.
Some of the random stuff. I mean,
it sounds like the type of shit that some high school kid would write on their backpack because they're fucking edgy and shit.
Yeah,
and this guy's what, in his 30s?
32, I think, 33, something like that.
He's 30.
Yeah.
No, he's 30. He's 30 years old. 30 years old. Hold on, I gotta go back now. Why won't you?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm like very upset at my technical difficulties. All right, there we go.
Usually it's a much smoother show. Let me address Randy real quick.
Venting my frustration.
Oh, yeah. Randy, you have to change your settings on a computer. You can't do it on your phone or an iPad. Discord changed something as far as privileges go. So you have to allow NSFW on your phone to access our Discord channel now. It's nothing we did. It's something that Discord did. So go into your settings and change it, and you can get back into Discord. Sorry, buddy. I know, Vital. What did you do? I don't know why he hates you so much.
It's the iOS store, actually. It's not even Discord directly.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not that he hates. He's concerned about people using drugs because it affects their blood vessels in vital organs. Right. This is a good one. This is his thoughts on the LGBT community. Oh my God, please hurry up. What? No. All right. This is really painfully slow. This is actually
yes, it is.
Physically
we might have to
me right now.
We might have to come back to this.
I might have to do this another night, honestly. Yeah, it might have to be. It might have to be another day, guys. I'm sorry, but I really can't even pull up these Stegelisms right now. I'm very upset about it.
Why don't we move on to Jeremiah Payne? I know Kick has some information on him, and sorry, guys.
Oh, that makes me happy. That perks me right back up.
Yep.
Yes.
So I did a video on Jeremiah fairly recently, and he went to the courthouse. He was obviously armed as per the usual. He's got his open carry pistol on his hip, and his claim was he was going there to fill out a complaint. And what happened was he wasn't there to fill out a complaint. He was there to pretty much just film and be a useless sack of shit. So somebody called on him because he's running around with a gun. Oh my goodness, no, not right now. Not right now, little one. Say hi. Say hi. Okay, now say bye. Bye. Okay, go tell the kids. Go tell the older ones.
So
sorry.
Cute. No, bro, it's all good. Adorable.
Little one just learned how to open doors. So, anyway, so he was there to file a complaint. So he says he was frauditing. He had a gun on him. Somebody said, call the police. There's a guy with a gun walking around the courthouse. He's filming. He's acting weird. And he immediately changed his story. Well, I was looking into some of that because he made some statements. He said, I'm not a felon. Well, I've got this link here that I'm going to send you.
Okay.
Which gives us his recent history in the jail system of Kentucky.
Alrighty, let's see. Now, I am no Vanilla Pat, so I may have problems. Bear with me here.
Not a problem. I can share the tab as well if need be.
Oh, here we go. So there.
All right. So if we scroll down a bit, this has got all of Jeremiah's info about when he was arrested on multiple charges. If you'll look under his aliases, he goes by Spanky Payne. I thought that was kind of interesting. So once we got that, I started looking at his convictions. And surprise, surprise, there are 4 different types of felonies in Kentucky. There is a 5th. However, the 5th is not necessarily a felony. The 5th class is felony class M, which is just misdemeanor. It's the way their database system functions. But
hold on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. But I'm going to cut you off. So we actually had this issue before. There are 2 Jeremiah Wayne Paynes.
Mm-hmm. Well, this one is 37
so the
years
meth
old.
Charges. He's 42.
He's 42. Okay. So, well, regardless, him and his wife, Methany, I would imagine that he's had some form of meth charges in the past because I've seen some video of her. If this is a different Jeremiah, then completely disregard this, and I apologize. This is incorrect info. But what I did want to bring up is what is on his channel. And I apologize for this bad info yet again. Jeremiah posted about how his trailer was robbed recently. His cameras were cut. He had bikes stolen and tools stolen.
Yes, I remember that.
And
yeah.
right after he went on this fraud, he called the police because he had all of his stuff stolen. So immediately after calling them assholes and tyrants and douche nozzles, he needs their help. Well, right after that, because of his carrying the gun within 500 feet during I want to say previous audit of the sheriff's office in the jail, they now have an arrest warrant for him while he's out in Tennessee.
Nice.
He posted the 2 things to his channel, the pictures of his documentation and the statement from the police. So we'll probably be seeing him in jail real soon. And of course, he follows suit. He's been asking for money because it's $2,000 to bail out on that one.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I actually just went to his community page. Let me share my screen here. There we go. And lo and behold, one day ago, he's begging for money. He's still in Cookeville, Tennessee. We can't avoid this too long. They've added my court bond, saying that I was told to stay away from courthouses, which is a lie. I have the conditions, and it says to stay away from the sheriff's department and the jail. Not a word about a courthouse. I was set up by the Russellville PD, who told me I had to go there to file the complaint. And they had also charged me saying I told everyone to call the sheriff's department, which is another lie. So anyone who can help out with the link is below. Shocker. I need all of y'all's help and support. 8 have been set up, and I need y'all's help. So this is apparently his narrative for his to stay away from the jail, from what he says on July 28th. I have not read through this yet, and if you want to read it, I suggest going to his community page. And let's see what else. There was something else I wanted to go over with Jeremiah while we talk about it. Let me see if it's still there. He may have deleted it because he's not so bright. Oh, by the way, Jeremiah, how did that strike go for you, buddy? Thanks very much. We appreciate it.
No, that's why I even brought him up at all, really. It's like this fucking, and I'm sorry. So, once we figured out there were 2 Jeremiah Wayne Paynes, which what are the fucking odds, right? Like, what are they naming everybody Jeremiah Wayne Payne down in Kentucky? Like, what the fuck? But and he still meth posts, which is why I will continue to call him a meth head, because he's been meth posting all over the place. So originally he had struck us, and his rationale for why this was a fair strike and a legal strike and a strike that is going to hold up in court is because YouTube agreed with it. Right. So I tried to explain to him that YouTube did not agree with it. They just have to honor it. Right. And that we're going to counterclaim it. And, it's going to go away. Well, we counterclaimed it and it went away. And of course, then, by his rationale, since YouTube agreed with us, I guess it was fair use. But no, YouTube doesn't fucking determine fair use, you dumb piece of shit. Right. So now he's meth posting, claiming that he has a team of lawyers. He's suing us into oblivion. We're going to jail. I'm going to jail. Some dude named Steven is going to jail. Jeremiah, I don't even know who Steven is, nor do I give a shit. We're all going to jail for doxing him and defaming him. So that's happening, apparently.
Yeah. It Kate kind of leads me into my next part of the methed up post. For those of you who have never seen the movie Red Dawn, it's official. Jeremiah Payne is living the dream of Red Dawn. He's now since deleted this from his community page because I think he realizes, well, he's fucking stupid. But this is what he posted. Something big is going on, guys. Wow, in Nashville. I've already seen 13 fighters jet fly over and 9 military combat helicopters, and this is all within a 30-minute. Just a 30-minute. It looked like they were heading towards Fort Campbell. Normally, you do not see this much military movement unless a war or something is about to go down. Yesterday, I seen a train that was probably 6 miles long full of military equipment. Then it's also rumored that China has military aircraft carriers surrounding our borders and that Russia has been moving in Canada. Are we about to be attacked by the 2 biggest countries? From both angles, from the north and the south? Think about it. If we are the government, will not give a warrant. So, think about it. If we are the government, will not give a warning. That hurts, Jeremiah. There will be a 30-minute warning, and that'll be all. So if you have any information or you have seen any kind of military movement, please let me know in the comments. Thank you. Much love, Jeremiah. So my girl, Morgie, she's phenomenal. She did a little research, and there was an air show in Tennessee that weekend is what they were going to. Jeremiah, you also claim to have a master's degree. And don't give me the bullshit that you use text-to-speech, because a 3rd grader with a Crayola could write better than this. Learn punctuation, buddy. A 3rd grader could write a better thesis than you probably wrote. So you don't have a master's degree. You took the post down and you sit behind a drawing table at a construction site with no one around. Everyone probably left. You were probably there cleaning up the spit buckets, and that was all you're doing. If you have a master's degree, buddy, post a picture of you at graduation. Don't post your master's degree itself unless you want to, but post a picture of you at graduation, and then maybe that'll give us, and not your kindergarten graduation, because we know that was pretty recent also. But you don't have a master's, buddy. I'm just calling bullshit on that right away.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way in hell that he's got any form of formal education.
No. Like I said, I am not the most articulate person when it comes to writing. I'll be the first one to admit it. I hate writing. But even I write better than that.
Staggles in
Chuck! Oh, you roboted Kate. I think we maybe lost Kate.
Chuck, then come on up if you're not too...
You're roboting, Kate. You're roboting. We heard like Chuck, robot, nothing. Fucking Kate and her cricket. So yeah, I mean Jeremiah, I think she's gonna drop and come back up. There's absolutely no way he has any, like you said, formal education. He posted a picture of him at some construction site saying that he was the foreman and he was the project manager for an 82 apartment condo and all this bullshit. Again, prove me wrong, buddy. And I'll be the first person to apologize. I just don't see it. Let's see. I don't see, where is Chuckles here? So what, you working anything right now, Kick, or what do you got going on?
I got a couple of things happening. The first one is I've got a couple of journalists from New Zealand that I'm working with. I'll be interviewing them here soon, and we're going to talk about the conspiracy groups that have formed over there based on the sovereign citizen ideology from the United States. And we're going to put something together to talk about, where does the money come from and how does misinformation spread so wildly. So that's a long-term project that I'm working on. It's going to take, at least a few months, but that's the main one right now. I've also got a collaboration with Vilified Freedom here coming up soon. And tomorrow night, Arty and I will be laughing like idiots for a couple of hours. So
it's funny you mentioned the soft set because we were watching, like I said, the Glenn video a few minutes ago, and he dropped one of the biggest buzzwords. I was traveling. Where do you see the correlation between auditors and soft sits at this point?
I'm trying to remember who said it recently, and I want to give them full credit for saying this. But Sovsits, Moors, and First Amendment auditors, if they were a Venn diagram, they're close to a fucking circle. Everything that they deal with really stems from the misinterpretation of pretty much anything that's legal.
Yeah.
So when we look at these so-called First Amendment auditors / constitutionalists / patriot groups, a lot of them are versed in the same way that the Sovsits are, and it is poorly. They read whatever part of the Constitution that they want, and then they misinterpret Supreme Court or even state Supreme Court law just to fit whatever narrative, because it's just cherry picking. But they do cross over so much. The Moors steal more of the paper terrorism of the Posse Comitatus and anti-tax movements of the 60s. Sovereign citizens, they take that on when it comes to going to court, so that way they can delay and call it a win, like 2 years down the road for a damn, traffic violation. But First Amendment auditors, it seems that they gather a lot of their information from that same well.
I see the Moors, especially after this latest arrest up in Boston area, I see the Moors becoming more and more of a domestic terrorism group. And I could actually see them doing something pretty drastic here in the near future, especially after this latest arrest of what they have going on. I mean, these guys, when they were pulled over, they were loaded for bear. I mean, they were driving down the road. They never released how many rounds of ammunition they had with them and everything, but they had a van full of guns and ammunition, and they were supposedly headed to training for that weekend, which I thought was kind of bizarre. Do you follow John Felix very much at all, or have you ever done anything with him?
I haven't really followed him much. I'm still kind of getting into quite a bit of this stuff. So
yeah, he calls himself a constitutionalist. To me, he's definitely Sovsit through and through. He was definitely someone I think you would find a lot of entertainment in, and a lot of good content, especially with your skills that you have. He keeps saying he wants to debate someone like Schrodinger or Kate. Hey Arty, do you want to come up, buddy? With Kick here, I can drop you the link here. Hold on 1 second. John, and I said it before. I do watch John's content because John makes me laugh. He is kind of funny sometimes, but he's definitely Sovsit through and through. And going back to, like you said, cherry picks what they say. They think they have their legal scholar from YouTube, and they kind of just abuse the same thing over and over again. There was a great piece done in Point Gorda, Florida. I'm just waiting to see if Arty comes up before I play his next two videos. There are actually two news clips from Florida. There's Arty. Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much.
Woo-woo.
Shut up. Save it for tomorrow.
Wow, I can feel the man love in the room already.
We're the odd couple.
We don't kink shame over at Masshole. We're all for whatever makes you happy. Kate, you're muted, by the way, if you're trying to talk. Kate forgets she mutes herself many of times, so that's why we have to remind Kate. One of the big things I've been saying for a long time, I've been following these guys, a lot of the auditors with Kate. I found Kate about
trying to figure out this bullshit Chromebook issue I'm having.
Okay, no problem. I kind of jumped on Kate's bandwagon about a year and a half, or about a year ago, a little over a year ago now, following auditors around. And I've been saying for a long time that these guys are pushing the envelope where they're going to start changing laws to affect what they're doing, and they're actually doing more harm to our rights than they are doing good for our rights. And I'm going to play these two news stories. I'll play the first one. They're both out of Point of Order. They're both the same group. Let me see here. Here goes the first one.
I had the cell phone numbers for Bruce. I had cell phone numbers for.
Sorry, guys, I had to play the commercial.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if you need.
Nice hairpiece.
Which was very unusual.
Not him, the other guy.
Dealing with other attorneys.
That guy.
God, I knew it was a goddamn injury firm.
You injured? Good.
Is that illegal? Is that illegal?
You're live on the internet right now, so be careful what you do.
When you're cordial with me, I'm cordial with you.
Give me your name and ID.
Just because you wear a badge, you're no different than I am.
You guys are a bunch of you got 4 cops here and you can't do shit.
He thinks that we can't talk to him like that. We could talk to him whatever the we want. It's freedom of speech. What are you going to do, arrest me for telling you to sit on the curb?
First Amendment aside, that's a pretty bold way to talk to a law enforcement officer. The guys who took that video say they spotted a deputy speeding and changing lanes without using their turn signal. So they decided to follow the officer and confront them. Thank you for watching NBC2. I'm Peter Bush.
And I'm Kelly Burns. The confrontation you just watched happened in Lehigh Acres on Congress Avenue. We sent NBC2's Christy Soto to find the group who made the video and to find out why they're provoking police.
We're at Congress Avenue in Lehigh Acres. This is where deputies say they encountered the 2 men and their phones. It was all streamed live on YouTube last night. Take a listen.
Why do you have your gun drawn?
Because you're following me, that's why.
These 2 men followed and filmed sheriff's deputies last night.
You're live on the internet right now, so be careful what you do.
Okay, pause that.
James Carroll call themselves.
Okay, so first thing, I got to give it up for the news for using the proper word. They use the term provoke, which is exactly what they do. This isn't, and it's a struggle because a lot of people call what they do to police harassment, but harassment, and Arty, correct me if I'm wrong, harassment is going to be an overtime type of thing. Mm-hmm. It's a constant set of behaviors targeting specific individuals, not necessarily just groups. And so because of the vagary of, we hate police and we're going to go and provoke and aggravate them, doesn't necessarily qualify as harassment just yet. Mm-hmm. But I do want to draw one different distinction, and that is with Glenn Serio. He was in court recently. He got 5 days in jail, but his constancy with frustrating Officer Jacoby, I would say that would border on harassment. Although the judge didn't see it that way, I feel that his constant talking about him and his berating Jacoby in subsequent videos would have bordered on harassment.
No, absolutely. And even the district attorney at his trial, she kind of hinted towards that. And the point with these guys I wanted to make, is it illegal to follow a cop? No. But cops have been ambushed more and more in recent news. So when you have a group of guys following you, and I don't, cops do break traffic laws all the time. I agree. It shouldn't be done by any means. They do it. It happens. And if you want to file a complaint, by all means, file a complaint. But when and I call it stalking. When you're stalking and following an officer, yes, they're going to be on heightened alert. Yes, when they get out of their vehicle, guess what? They're going to draw their guns. Reaction is slower than action. So if something's going to happen to them, they're going to be ready to respond to it. And he said some idiots following them is going to raise the hair on the back of their neck. That's not normal behavior. And these auditors like to say they're afraid of the cameras and that they're not going to do any harms. They think that every cop knows who they are and what their intentions are. Yeah. Cops are not afraid of cameras by any means. Cameras have been around going on probably 20 years now of filming. Actually, since Rodney King. Rodney King was probably the first example we ever seen of a First Amendment auditor, per se. And like I said, it's not they're afraid of the camera. You know, they have a dangerous job. Whether the auditors want to admit it or not, they've got a dangerous job. So I'll go ahead and play the rest of this video, and then actually Florida's actually working on it. So do you want to say something, Arty? I'm sorry.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
First Amendment auditors. They claim a deputy was speeding and not using his turn signals. That isn't captured on camera.
We could talk about that
what
upcoming
next
bill.
Is
give me your name and ID.
F-bombs.
You're a coward.
And worse.
You guys are a bunch of you got 4 cops here and you can't do
hurled at the deputies, keeping their collective cool.
As soon as Carmine sees
Thank you guys for tuning in.
attorney,
Thank you for getting my back.
Sheriff Carmine Marcino making his feelings clear.
I'm proud of how they acted on scene, and our training, our de-escalation training, is proven now that we are able to take that kind of verbal abuse and still be very professional and courteous and do our job.
Lopez and Carroll then followed deputies to an LCSO substation.
At 3 in the morning,
peeking into patrol cars and knocking on the door, demanding to speak to a supervisor. Lopez says their goal is to hold law enforcement accountable.
We want to close the gap, between law enforcement and citizens. At the end of the day, our tax dollars pay them, and they forget that.
Sheriff Marcino says these men crossed a line and put your safety on the line.
It's harassing. It influences how we do our job, okay? And it's unacceptable. It really is. You got multiple units on scene, and those units could be helping someone in a life-death situation somewhere else.
The 2 men were not arrested in Lehigh Acres.
Why do you guys act above the law? What makes you guys special? Because you wear that clown suit and that badge, it makes you special?
Christy Soto, NBC2.
Thanks, NBC2, for letting us share that. I give the sheriff a lot of credit also for supporting his men in that situation.
Yeah, the one thing that I heard, which I have to completely disagree with, is how the frauditor said, oh, we're trying to bridge the gap between citizens and the police. You know, there's ways to do that. Ride-alongs, community involvement, community policing programs, donating time to advocacy locations like women's shelters or domestic violence shelters and things like that. I mean, those are all great opportunities to work with the police, work in the criminal justice system in some way, shape, or form, and be able to really take a look at how things work at a granular level. And what I struggle with is the frauditors talk about how, oh, they pass or they fail. Well, what is the criteria? Where is this database? Who's making the calls on what type of criteria they're actually going to use and what's going to be discarded? You know, if anything, it's just what somebody wrote in crayon, pass and fail, and then marked some tick marks underneath, and that's it. You know, it seems like they keep moving the fucking goalpost every single time that they do some form of audit.
I mean, I think auditors are probably like the biggest Karens truly out there, to be honest with you. They think they're at a Walmart customer service counter and that the cops must bow down to them. Yes, cops must act professional and they must treat them in a professional manner. Doesn't mean kiss your ass at the same time.
That's what I was going to say, that it was where what Kik had mentioned. For me, it wasn't the. I would replace more. I would put the Moors into the soft sit category, and I would say the Venn diagram that's a circle is the Karens, the auditors, and sovereign citizens, because more, especially over the last year, we see Karens over what's been going on. They go walk into, as you said, Walmart, think they know what the law is, think they know what they're doing, and shockingly enough, I see them rip lines and quotes straight out of the Sovereign Citizen playbook.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing at this point.
Well, yeah. Especially when they're hanging out with David Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I don't know who that person is. Arty, did you see the Glenn Serio video from this morning?
The video, no, but I did listen in on his sentencing.
Okay. He did a video where, I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen a kick. I mean, to me, it's blatant misuse of 911, where he just calls and it's just. I know a lot of people on it. I meant to mention this when we played the video earlier. I know a lot of people from the Glenn Serios a Dick Facebook page have contacted Everett PD with the video information and suggested they go after him for misuse of 911. Sorry, I segued and just completely jumped to a different thing. Which kind of, I know, Arty, you mentioned it all a minute ago about the House Bill 11 going on in Florida. I'll play that real quick. It's a pretty short video, I believe. Talking about how auditors are kind of pushing the envelope where laws are being changed to protect the officers, which I think is great.
Well, but I also feel like, again, it's another example of people, unless it's a completely different law that they're referring to, unless there's more than one law, one bill on play, the bill does not do what a lot of auditors and even other people like watchdogs think it does.
No, all it does, and I haven't read the bill myself, I'm going by what the news has reported on it, and I probably should read the bill. All it basically does, it actually establishes a buffer zone around a scene to allow the officer to do his job.
Exactly. But every single headline I've seen, especially in the auditor, they think it's a blanket ban on filming, when it doesn't say that at all.
Absolutely not. It has nothing to do with filming. And as I mentioned before, cops are not afraid of cameras. Majority of Florida cops, sheriff's departments, they have body cams or at least dash cams. And I don't know the exact date. I think it's a mandate that by 2025, maybe, that every department has some type of video capability. Mm-hmm. But here's what the news is reporting in Florida about the House Bill 11.
Meeting with Bruce was a breath of fresh air.
Oh,
I mean, he gave me his card. He told me, call me anytime, and he really meant that. He would call us and say, hey,
I think Bruce died.
Is there something I can do for you? Are you guys okay? You know, I am grateful.
Gotta love Florida.
We can't walk behind them. They're scared. What are you guys so afraid of, man? I don't understand that. You guys have the guns, the tape.
Again, cops are not afraid. They always want to have a position of advantage. They don't want some idiots walking behind them in their blind spot with their backs to them. And again, they have no idea what your intentions are. They don't know you people. Sorry.
I would say rephrase that though. It would be wrong to say that cops are not afraid. They do some of the shit that many of us could never do ourselves. We talk a lot of good shit, you know. Oh, somebody comes in my house, I'm gonna pull out my shotgun and I'm gonna blow them away. But you know, when you're there and that shit's going down, it's moving so fast. Do you really have the ability?
Absolutely, and that's why I don't think it's being afraid. It's situational awareness.
They're not afraid of the cameras, but they're still going to feel fear, and that's where the buzzword of them being afraid comes from, is that the police are human. They will feel fear, but it has nothing to do with the camera. The camera is just a vehicle for a narrative.
Absolutely, and it's more about situational awareness than it is being afraid. Now, when a shooting happens, are they afraid? Do they have an adrenaline dump? Absolutely. But just because I don't want someone standing behind me on my gun side or my non-gun side does not mean I'm afraid of you. I want to know what you're doing behind me. And that's all it really is. And you're right. They use the narrative of the camera as that they're afraid of the camera. They want to hide from the camera. It has nothing to do with that whatsoever. So let's finish watching this real quick.
Teasers, you guys get scared if somebody walks behind you? What is that, like a scared syndrome you guys have?
Showed you that video at the top of the newscast. Two so-called cop watchers who followed and confronted Lee County deputies. Tonight, we're learning a proposed new bill would make it a crime to harass police.
NBC2 chief political reporter Dave Elias shows us where those lines would be drawn.
Well, House Bill 11 is the first bill filed already for next year, and it would make it a crime to approach a police officer with the intent to harass or provoke them. In fact, the bill says that anyone that comes within 30 feet of an officer after being warned to stay away could face prison time.
You bunch of gang members, bro.
James Lopez and James Carroll call themselves First Amendment auditors or cop watchers.
You can't be nice to them, bro. The nicer you are, the more they walk all over you.
Their video shows them swearing at an officer they followed after claiming he was speeding.
He thinks that we can't talk to him like that. We could talk to him whatever the we want. It's freedom of speech.
If your free speech is impeding the public safety of someone else, then it can be stopped.
What reason you have to detain me?
While they weren't charged, constitutional law professor Pamela C. said House Bill 11 would make their behavior a crime.
Similar bills have been adopted in other states. What it does, it allows for a police officer to do their job.
A bill Republican lawmaker Mike Gillimbardo says he'll support.
HB 11 will, in fact, help our law enforcement officers to be comfortable and to doing their job.
It's purely politically motivated, and it's not going to help make everyone feel more safe. If anything, it's going to create more opportunities for folks to be incarcerated. And
Those we showed the video to had mixed reaction.
Should go to jail for taunting and intimidating the police.
I don't see why you'd go to jail for something like that.
I think that law makes sense. I think it's interesting that a law doesn't already exist.
Now, if House Bill 11 passes next year, anyone caught breaking the law could face 2 months in prison and a $500 fine. In Fort Myers, Dave Elias, NBC2.
Okay, that's the maximum penalty. I guarantee the first offense is not going to be a jail sentence. It's probably going to be a severe fine and go from there.
So I linked the bill text here in the chat, and I've also got it pulled up. And it's a lot shorter than the one that Texas had earlier this year, which didn't make it out of the legal review. But it basically states that approaching a law enforcement officer after a warning with intent to impede, provoke, or harass, it is unlawful for any person after receiving a warning from a law enforcement officer not to approach, to violate such a warning, and approach or remain within 30 feet of a law enforcement officer who is engaged in the lawful performance of any legal duty with the intent to interrupt, provoke, etc., directly or indirectly harass. A person who violates this subsection commits a misdemeanor of the second degree, punishable as provided in, and then it gives the subsections here. And they do state that it would take effect October 1st of 2022. So looking at the language that's used, the first thing is we got to look back at some of the frauditors who always talk about, oh, well, the law says 10 feet, 15 feet, 25 feet. Mm-hmm. That doesn't exist.
No.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
This is a potential to utilize a number and at least say, okay, you've got 30 feet. All right, that's fine. But what the frauditors are going to hinge themselves on here, and I don't really like using that word there, but what they're going to lean on is the law enforcement officer who's engaged in the lawful performance of any legal duty. And that is a perception, that's an issue with perception on their part, because their lack of knowledge of law and their lack of proper interpretation of it does not mean that anything that the police are doing is completely illegal. So now, to go to the other side, what was it, Aurora, Colorado? Police officers came up on a scene, went to arrest a few guys. Somebody ran, and then he started beating this guy on the head with his gun. That cop is an asshole.
Absolutely.
He's gone. His partner, him and his partner were both charged. There was no call for that type of force to be used. So I want to be very clear in that there are cops that will abuse and will perform illegal actions, just like we saw in Aurora, Colorado, like has been seen with the knee on the neck that people have talked about. But that's not to say that, oh, the police pulled somebody over because their brake light is out or something, that, oh, now all of a sudden they're impeding our fucking rights. That's stupid.
Oh, absolutely. And at one point last year, Tucson actually had passed a law, or actually, I guess about a year and a half ago now, they actually had passed a law in Tucson, Arizona, where auditors, when given a lawful command by an officer to back up, they had to back up. If not, it was a misdemeanor. I believe it was only a citation. Unfortunately, the George Floyd incident happened shortly after that, and the political environment changed, and they have since repealed that law. But I definitely see lawmakers getting more behind law enforcement. So, again, it's allow them to do their job. Again, you can videotape all you want, but when you start yelling stuff at the person who is being pulled over, or you start, berating the cop and asking him all these questions while he's trying to do his investigation or his traffic stop, you've crossed that line now of interference.
I mean, that's what's going to hinge this law if it ends up getting passed. Because the more I'm reading it, the more I'm seeing that there could be like potential constitutional issues, because it's going to depend on how they're going to interpret harass, how they're going to interpret impedes, interferes. Because, for example, in New Jersey, a guy, an auditor, was found not guilty under New Jersey's obstruction law because of his auditing, and because the reason why is because under New Jersey's common law, obstruction or interference had to be physical. There has to be a physical element to interference. And I also am thinking back to Kentucky's proposed bill from last year that was like, just reading it on its face was unconstitutional because it actually explicitly, banned speech. So that would lead an officer to react with physical violence or have so the second line says any unlawful after receiving a warning from a law enforcement officer not to approach who is engaged in lawful performance of his duty with the intent to provoke a physical response from the law enforcement officer. Like, what does that mean? Because that to me seems like that's something for the officer to handle. Like, whatever these guys do or whatever they end up doing, they, if it's purely speech, then no amount of speech is supposed to justify an officer using physical, provoke a physical response. I'm just going to say that right now. So those are the things that I'm seeing that are issues with this bill. That I think they need to narrow it down very, very much so if they're going to get something that will pass constitutional scrutiny.
Well, I think from what Kick read, to me it just sounds it's basically solely based on distance. An officer's doing his job. If you infringe on that, and if you're just standing there and not saying nothing and videotaping, and the scene is secure, I would say 99% of the time the cop's going to say nothing to you, let you do your business. Once you start intervening in that, and the cop at that point, the way I'm reading it and from what Kick said, is the cop simply asks you to back up. You have your 30 feet you have to go to. That's the way I'm reading. And even from what that constitutional law professor was saying, I don't think it's, again, I'm not a lawyer by any means. I don't understand all the ins and outs of it. But to me, I don't think that crosses the boundary of infringing on their rights. It's not saying you can't record. It's saying give me do my job.
Yeah, take all of that PayPal money that you got from people because you keep getting locked up for a job and buy a goddamn boom mic and a zoom lens. But what I see here in number one, what I struggle with is there's only a single defined term, and they're only defining law enforcement officer. Mm-hmm. They're not defining anything else. So that's where they're going to have some struggles, I think, if this bill was to make it to the Senate. But again, that's going to be a legal discussion. The only other part that I'm frustrated by is in number two, is that we're glossing over the first line in that it's unlawful for any person after receiving a warning. So they have to have been engaged by the police because the police felt that the situation did not warrant them to be that close. And if policies already exist with that department or those multiple police departments for for press, and press already follow it, then the only reason this is going into place is the same reason we have a warning sticker on a hairdryer that says don't use it in the fucking shower.
Well, it's like that law, and I thought the law in Punta Gorda, actually, I thought that crossed the boundaries that they created for Andrew Sheets, where public indecency, as far as dropping F-bombs and cussing in public, is now a citable offense down in Punta Gorda, which, I thought that I think that crosses the line as far as free speech goes. But on the flip side, you've got Andrew Sheets, if you're not familiar with him. He's outside. Familiar. Yeah, he's outside of schools wearing Nazi uniforms saying, fuck you, cunt. Die like the Nazis or die like the Jews and get on the train, all this stuff. So, and I've said this all along, where do their constitutional rights stop and mine begin when I'm in public?
This is definitely a treatise on how society has been shifted now, right? Something happens that we don't like and we go to extremes. And so when the extremes are gone to, then the opposition goes to extremes. So say, for instance, this with Andrew Sheets, right? The whole reason they did that was really, in my opinion, to pander to the people that were complaining the most. And so it was a knee-jerk reaction policy that they put in place. Is it going to be refined? Absolutely, because there's going to be somebody who wants to push the envelope in a more effective way than Andy Sheets does. And that's what's going to make it change. But will Andrew Sheets and his actions ever do it? Fuck no.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, and doesn't have the money to do it. But I'm surprised it even got out of legal counsel from the city. That the council even said, "Yeah, go ahead and push that through," because they had to read it before they submitted it.
Well, of course. But the whole idea of constitutionalism only fits the mindset of the individual who's looking at it. So you've got to consider, all your diehard Second Amendment fans, which, don't get me wrong, I'm a gun owner. I like the Second Amendment. But people who focus on that solely, they completely push to the side everything else. And so flawed as humans are going to be when their focus is so narrow, we're going to see things like this happen.
Well, absolutely. And I had this comment a couple weeks ago. There's a new gun on the market. I'm an avid gun owner. I own more guns than any man ever needs. There's a new gun out there called the Glock 19. It's a Glock 19 with Legos on it. And it looks like a freaking toy. And it goes back to what I said before. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And, it's bad enough. I'm going to try and pull a picture up of it. Let's see here. Oh, wow.
They got the cease and desist from Lego for that, didn't they?
I'm not sure if they got it from Lego or Glock. I know Glock was pitching a fit about it. Which, again, it's bad enough that cops have to worry about airsoft guns, which look realistic enough already. Now you've created a real firearm that it looks like a kid's toy. And how do you expect an officer to differentiate this is a toy or this is a gun? Yeah.
Yeah, that's big yikes.
Yeah. So, this is an operating clock. It's got a fiber optic front. It's got the sights in the back, raised sights. Again, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And like I said, is it legal to own one? Absolutely. But why?
I don't know. It's a custom thing, right? Like, I like, I like Star Wars. So, who am I to go and paint a 30 round gun or maybe a carbine in white on some of the furniture? Because, hey, now it looks like a stormtrooper blaster, it starts touching on that area of what's really it's a very difficult and muddy area, because you can't say that, now because they came out with the Block 19, nobody can have a gun that's customized in a way that looks like a child's toy. And so now the old guy who did the Super Nintendo Zapper Glock is gonna have to repaint and do all that shit. What are you where are we going to put the line and say, okay, what's reasonable? And that's the struggle, is how many people are actually reasonable.
Well, that's just it. Again, it goes back to, and I've said it 4 times now, just because you can doesn't mean you should. But I said the first time a cop shoots a kid who pulls a Block 19 on him, what's the outcry going to be?
Well, I'll tell you this much. I don't want to ever get shot by a pink Hello Kitty Glock 19, personally.
No, neither do I.
And if a cop was getting shot by the Block 19, I think he'd never live it down with his buddies back at the station. But you make a valid point. It's a quick, it's a reaction based thing. Is it a toy or not? And we're going to end up with the whole orange tips on toy guns debate that we had years ago.
Which everyone painted over or broke them off.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's idiots like that company that made the Block 19 that forced the laws to be created. Again, and I don't necessarily think it's a great thing to have, where you have to have laws created because one person does something completely stupid.
I'm sorry, I'm eating ice cream.
Yeah. Oh my fucking god.
Hope you get a brain freeze. No, I don't know. It's a slippery slope, like you said. These guys are pushing the envelope, and again, I think they're creating their actions are having more laws created based on what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point that Arty made on one of our Saturday night shows. The whole reason that a lot of laws go into effect is not because of good people.
No. And we're starting to see that more and more.
Terry wasn't a good guy. Miranda wasn't a good guy.
Right.
You know, can you wait for the Jeremiah law?
Right.
You know, can you wait for the Serio law, for the Roth law? Because they never come through for good people. I mean, I don't have a record. Why isn't there a law named for me? Why isn't there a kick law? You know? Well, that's just it. They don't name diseases after people that don't have them.
True. Very true. It's amazing how we've slipped from humanity, though, and we've gone down this path where abusing someone, and Glenn Sarah's a great example of it, Patrick Roth's a great example of it, how abusing someone in public for clicks and views is now acceptable behavior to, you know, for money, a monetary gain on YouTube.
Social media is just cancer.
Oh, absolutely.
It is a product of social media.
Yes.
Because it's whether it's YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, people will do this who have no shame, and they know that there is an audience in a world of 8 billion people. There are going to be weirdos that really get off on that kind of stuff. That really get off on provoking others, especially when they're hiding behind the anonymity of a live stream and, you know, an anonymous clout, you know. So they know that the audience exists. Sometimes they'll get arrested. Like, for example, I keep highlighting that one tool bag incel New Yorker kid who's now facing, you know, federal charges because he pretended to have like a bomb about to go off in the middle of New York City. Yeah. He's like 19, was a complete, you know, your incel tool bag, and he pretended like a bomb was about to go off, causing a freaking panic, and is now facing like, I think 10 to 15 years in jail. And he did it for the clicks. He did it for the clout and for the thumbs up in his chat. So it's no shock to me at all that you have folks like Glenn and these SGV News First who their entire shtick is getting a rise out of people and just ruining somebody else's day for no other reason but for the lulz. So,
well, and the one thing I think we're gonna start seeing is when these guys the auditors make these statements of unlawful arrest, I can resist with up to and including deadly force. I think we're going to start seeing that eventually when these guys keep trying to up their game like Omaha does. And I think we're going to see where these guys physically start resisting these officers because they feel it's an unlawful arrest, that they can either kill the officer or fight the officer because, again, they read part of a legal brief and they think that's everything. And I think that's the next envelope we're going to see start being pushed.
Yeah, it's when we take a look at the auditors and what they're doing, their behaviors and things like that. The one thing that I find fascinating is at the core of all of it, regardless of what their actions are and what their words are, they have some concept that they want to push. And some of them, I mean, well, let's just face it, some of them do it for the money. But there are a few who are out there that have a good legitimate concept, you know, take for instance, you know, jail reform, and how do we handle people going into jail and actually rehabilitating them instead of just incarceration. That's a great concept to go through and to fight for, but how are you helping anyone by walking up on an officer with a flashlight shined in their face in the middle of the night while they're on a stop and stepping up behind them? You know, how is running around pretending that you got an itching disease on your back and constantly reaching into your pockets in front of multiple cops to become a statistic, how the fuck does that benefit society? You know?
Well, especially when you have the Patricks and the Earls who are capitalizing on idiots like Omaha and putting them out there, and then calling the cops on themselves to try and elicit a response. And I hope they get, again, they're not going to get any huge jail time for the misuse of 911 when they called the cops and said that Floyd was putting drugs possibly on the jail property and stuff. But I hope they do get some jail time from that, and I hope they start seeing the ramifications from their actions. And I think it is a matter of time for Omaha gets hurt or get tased. The one saving grace for Omaha, and I've said this before, is he's lucky he does not pull the shit at night when cops cannot see his hands fully. If he did that at night and he came out with his cell phone or something, there's a really good chance he would get lit up.
Especially because he's always walking around in all black. He's got a freaking face mask and a hat and sunglasses on. I mean, there's no way that the officers can know exactly what he's reaching for in that.
No, absolutely not.
And I think that's kind of been his saving grace and why he hasn't become a statistic yet. But I can say that, Earl and Roth both want him to become a statistic.
Oh, absolutely.
That spells a bigger paycheck for them.
Absolutely. And there was one point with News New England, they had him outside of a prison carrying a rifle case. Now, granted, the rifle case was empty, but again...
I thought it was a courthouse.
No, he did the courthouse also, but he was outside of prison one time.
Oh, God, so he did it on more than one occasion. That's
amazing.
amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's done it on several occasions. That was his motive for what he's doing for a while. He was outside of a prison and did it one time, and they couldn't understand why the cops came with AR-15s and stuff. You're outside of a prison, for fuck's sake. What do you think they're going to respond with? Yoo-hoos and a cotton candy for you? I mean...
Right. I think that's what annoys me the most when he... it's like, he's not this dumb. And for him to keep playing dumb as if, what are you guys doing? All I have is a fucking case. All I have is my back itches, God. I don't know what's going on. Motherfucker, you are not that fucking stupid. You know exactly what you're doing. And the fact that I know that you know what you're doing is all the more reason why I get nothing but anxiety every time somebody mentions Omaha's Live, because I do not need to see a snuff film.
No,
all right?
absolutely.
I do not need to see a Faces of Death or Live Leak event about to happen to me on YouTube, because this guy is going to get himself killed. And the sad part is, based on what he does and how he does it, from not just cops but even other defense attorneys, we're going to look at it as like, that's a justified shooting. Even if ultimately he didn't have anything, everything that he was doing leading up to, God forbid, a lethal event, it'll probably end up being justified. So it would be a completely pointless waste of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole rifle case, it's my tripod carrier. Get the fuck out of here. It's not a tripod carrier. You put a tripod in a rifle case. Again, you're right. It is going to be a snuff film. And idiots like Patrick and Earl, they're going to capitalize on it. And even Josh Abrams was trying to pimp him out for the longest time and doing that stuff before Josh went to prison.
I keep hopping into his live chat and recommending he contact the Mayo Clinic for pruritus, seeing as he's constantly itching. They've got a new drug that they can help test on him if he decides to sign up.
Didn't you put the billboard in one of your videos for him and mentioned him?
That was Schrodinger.
Okay, I knew somebody
to get us confused. We're both avatars, and one of us has 116,000 subscribers, and the other one is some jackhole.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shame. I mean, they want to push the envelope. If you really want, like someone mentioned earlier, if you want to make change, go on. And I've said this many of times. These guys should go on a ride along, do a shoot, don't shoot scenario, and see what cops have to respond to, and how everything happens in the fraction of a second. Then you have a different perspective for what it is. This is where Kate and I always get into an argument. To me, auditors are these kids who have grown up, who were never told no growing up and given third place or 18th place trophies for showing up and doing something. Now they're being told no, and they're throwing temper tantrums. Like I said, they're the biggest Karens in the world.
I think that plays a part into it. I think another part has to deal with societal factors. I mean, it's just like anything else. The stuff that we were told as kids, you are who you hang out with.
Mhm.
You grow up to exemplify the environment you were raised. Whatever way you want to put it in. Floyd was raised in what I imagine a way that required him to constantly seek some form of acceptance. And
Yes.
when it comes to these auditors and these small communities within, because none of them can seem to agree on much, considering they're all at each other's throats, but they find these little clicks, and it gives them that boost that they need. It gives them a level of confidence. And to find some form of success online adds to that even further. And for them, that's almost like a drug.
Yeah.
It's a drug because maybe they didn't get the and I hate to say it this way, but maybe they didn't get the hugs they needed when they were kids. Maybe they didn't have both their parents. Maybe it was something else. But there's always something at the core that drives people to do things against the establishment, right? You look at the Weather Underground. They were a terrorist organization, right? But they did what they did because they had some form of core idea or a frustration that existed because of their run-ins with the law. The same thing is here with these frauditors. These frauditors have had run-ins with the law. I have not seen one that does not have a fucking misdemeanor or anything on their record. I have not seen one. And it always gets worse.
Yeah, Martin plays a good point here. It gives them a sense of family.
I mean, honestly, sometimes I also think it could. For some auditors, I feel like it's honestly a little bit more simpler than that. They feel that they got railroaded by law enforcement and they got an axe to grind. I honestly feel like for a lot of other auditors, it's as simple as that. And,
I agree.
And they want to exude the same power that was exuded upon them back in the day, and this is their only outlet.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep.
So
I'm good. I got a jet though. I'm gonna call it an early night.
yeah, I'm gonna shut this down. We're going on an hour and a half right now. I really appreciate you guys popping up here. Pat left me out hanging out to dry, and Kate, her computer broke. Jacob, I'm sorry, buddy. We're gonna shut it down here. If you guys ever want to come up, by all means, hit us up on Discord or whatever. And I love you guys' work, man. Keep it up.
Yep.
Thanks so much for having us on.
Yeah.
Anytime, buddy.
Thanks again.
All right, guys. Have a great night. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much for all the donations. Talk to you all soon.